This is the unmistakable mining sound that evokes stories of hope to many people. The mining sector in Zambia is the bedrock of the country's economy, upon which many people's livelihoods depend in mining towns such as Kitwe and Mufulira. Copper mining activities in these two towns cannot be told without mentioning the mining giant Mopani Copper Mines plc. With over 15,000 jobs, both directly and indirectly, Mopani Copper Mines plc is no doubt Zambia's biggest employer outside the government, the most modern and advanced underground mine with over 140 million tons of copper reserves. Between 2013 and 2018, Mopani Copper Mines plc was voted the best mining company in Zambia by the Zambia Chamber of Mines, a record 3 times. Mopani Copper Mines plc was also voted as the Mining Company of the Year for a record 5 times by all member organizations under the Kitwe District and Chamber of Commerce and Industry, owing to its $1.5 billion investment in ultra-modern infrastructure to extend the lifespan of the mine beyond 25 years. Government, through ZCCM Investment Holdings plc, recently acquired 90% shares in Mopani Copper Mines plc from Glencore and First Quantum Minerals, adding to its previous 10% stake held prior to this acquisition. This transaction makes ZCCMIH a 100% shareholder in Mopani Copper Mines plc. The acquisition is premised on a debt repayment of $1.5 billion that Glencore loaned to Mopani Copper Mines plc for expansion projects over the past few years.
The loan is to be repaid through an offtake agreement granted to Glencore International using 10% of the production. That means the loan will be repaid in a period between 10 to 17 years, depending on the price of the copper. This transaction is important for the government, and it guarantees not just production at the mine, but also jobs.
This acquisition has raised questions as to whether ZCCMIH has the capacity and human capital to run the mine. Mopani's Chief Executive Officer, Charles Sakanya, has been successfully managing Mopani for the past 10 months with an increased production of 35,000 tons in 2020 compared to 30,000 tons in 2019, and with no capital injection from the stakeholders.
So we went into a drive once we learned that we were going to go into care and maintenance, and we were given a lease of life to continue to operate. We embarked on cost reduction drive. So we've controlled very strictly our purchases. The copper price also was in our favor. When we went down, it came temporarily to 4,600. It went up to where it is now, 798. We got rid of expensive labor, and then we increased production. We produced as much as we could under the circumstances. And we've dropped the production cost from 685 cents per pound down to 435, and still going. We would like to be around the 350 mark. So the potential for Mopani is huge. We have a huge resource. We are now talking mining at 2 kilometers deep at Mindola. We are at 1.5 kilometers at Mufulira, with an extension of the shaft to 2 kilometers as well. At those levels, we still have the copper. So copper is here for a long time. We make 4,000 tons of concentrates of cobalt. We produce about 1,700 kilos in the slimes of silver, and we produce about 114 kilos of gold. And then we make on a daily basis, when you're running full capacity, 1,800 tons max, tons of acid, sulfuric acid. This you use in treatment of oxide ores. that can be used in making fertilizers. If you have a fertilizer plant, they use sulfuric acid to make fertilizers.
ZCC MIH's majority shareholder, the Industrial Development Corporation's Chief Executive Officer, Mateo Kaluwa, reiterates ZCC MIH's capability in ensuring the continued operations of Mopani.
The acquisition of Mopani by ZCC MIH is consistent with our expectations of the new direction that we give ZCC MIH. We are very confident that ZCC MIH do have the capacity to run the mine. One thing that should be mentioned is that when we say ZCC MIH running the mine, we're not saying the people sitting here in Lusaka are going to be the ones that are making decisions at the mine. They will be the shareholders. There will be a competent board in place. There will be a competent management in place. And if you recall what the Minister of Mines said, we will also be seeking a strategic equity and technical partner that will make sure that the mine is run efficiently and professionally. So the concerns around ZCC MIH's ability to run the mine, I think the question should be more, does ZCC MIH have the ability to own the mine? And clearly the fact that they've acquired the mine demonstrates that this is an area that they are competent in terms of the everyday operations of the mine. Zambia has been mining for a very long time. We have very competent Zambians. And where we need foreign expertise, the board and management of Mopani will make those decisions on what kind of expertise they need to outsource. But in terms of our confidence that the mine will be professionally run, that we have no doubt.
In response to this confidence, ZCC MIH Board Chairperson Eric Silwamba has assured continued operations of Mopani.
We will continue to support the hospital, the school, and other amenities. We will ensure continued operations of the mines, safeguarding of jobs, and growth for the betterment of the country.
The new expansion assets guarantee the future of Mopani Copper Mines PLC, and they include 3 new ultra-modern shafts, a new concentrator, and a state-of-the-art training school for mining and engineering artisans to boost production and cut on costs.
With the new infrastructure, we are able to produce more. We are able to reduce the time we spend on hoisting ore. Currently, on some shafts, 1 ton of ore moves and changes positions 16 times. With the new infrastructure, we'll cut down that to 2 or 3. We've seen that at Synclinorium, we've seen that at Mufulira, and we are looking forward to Mindola once that is complete. So the potential for Mopani is huge.
But what should excite Zambians about owning such a multi-billion-dollar mine asset? Is it a worthwhile asset that guarantees continued operations beyond the $1.5 billion repayment debt?
We've increased the mine life by 25 years with a new infrastructure. So if you divide 1.5 over the agreement period, I'm told 15 to 17 years. So we're talking paying 88 million a year. How can a country not afford to pay that? It's very sustainable.
This resource is achievable due to the expansion project, particularly the Synclinorium shaft and the new Mindola Deeps shaft in Kitwe, as well as the Henderson shaft in Mufulira, that will increase the lifespan of the new mine by over 25 years.
Currently we are at Synclinorium project. This is a brand new shaft we commissioned in 2016. As Mopani, we are on an expansion program to sustain the operations of the company for the next 25 years. To that effect, we've had to do more or less 5 projects, 3 shaft sinking projects. This is one of them. The other one is Mufulira, and you're going to see later on the 3rd one, which is Mindola. Then we have also put up a new concentrator that is yet to be commissioned, as well as We're also doing a project to sustain ourselves in terms of production. You know, once you produce, just like the way you eat, if you've got to eat, you need to throw away some waste. So we're doing a tailings project, which is the design and you know, everything else is almost in place. We plan to start by April. So that's where we are with the projects. In as far as expansion projects are concerned, the Mufulira dips or the Henderson shaft, you will see it's actually in operation. We are more or less 90% complete. We just need to do a bit of the bulk air cooling as well as underground infrastructure so that we can access a lot of the ore. In a couple of years, we will also go ahead and do, you know, a 500 meter depth extension, which is going to assure us well over the 20 years that we project at the moment. Then here at Synclinorium, we've completed this shaft and we're already producing through this. We're talking close to 4 million tons per annum. We also need to do the infrastructure underground, the pump chamber as well as the water handling facilities. At Mindola, we are slightly behind. We're estimating more or less 70%. We still need to finish the shaft equipping and the underground infrastructure for us to access the ore. So there at Mindola, we're slightly behind. The new concentrator is practically complete. We just need to do a bit of instrumentation and electrical work. More or less 3-4 months we should be done, and then we can commission the project. Then on the tailing side, we've been busy doing geotechnical work at both Mufulira and Kitwe. We have since completed most of that work, and we are doing the design which should be completed in a month's time, and then we plan to start construction in April.
It gets even better. The new Synclinorium shaft in Kitwe has been equipped with a sulfide concentrator to increase copper recoveries by about 94%. The mills at this concentrator are fully automated to enhance production efficiencies.
This concentrator is designed for a tonnage of 4.2 million tons per annum, and it will put that tonnage through the mills, which you see here. And we're expecting recoveries from this plant of about 94% copper recovery, as opposed to the old concentrator, which at the moment is only achieving about 89% recovery. The kicker in there is that we'll achieve it at an even higher grade. So we'll achieve a grade of like 28% copper plus. I should have mentioned that what we're receiving from the mining is about 1.8% concentrate, copper grade. And our job here is to concentrate that, to bring it into a concentrate. And the current concentrator is achieving a 23% concentrate grade. This concentrator will achieve a 28% concentrate grade, and that concentrate will send to the smelter. Being a sulfide concentrator, its heart of the operation is the mills here that you see here. These are Autotech mills, 6.5 megawatts each. We have a SAG mill and a ball mill. This is a classic change from the old concentrator, where at the old concentrator, we are running much smaller mills, and we're having to do 16 mill units in the old concentrator, where here we're just running these two SAG and ball mill. So we receive the ore from mining at about 200 millimeter size, minus 200 millimeter, and that goes straight into the SAG mill. SAG mill, called SAG mill, is a semi-autogenous mill, so we use the actual ore itself to do the grinding, and we just add about 15% charge of steel balls. So 200 millimeters will go straight from the mining plant into the SAG mill, as opposed to the old concentrator, where you'd have to crush that and reduce it to something like 20 millimeter size, and then feed it into a rod mill and then a ball mill. Here we go everything straight into the SAG mill.
Synclinorium, we installed a 6.8 megawatt drive, single motor unit, very compact Blair multi-rope winder. Attached to that we have two 50 52mm ropes, 51mm ropes, hoisting at a speed of 15 meters a second with a payload of approximately 27.5 tons. Synclinorium is running. It's been running since 2014, since commissioned. It's maintained by all the Zambians, the engineer, the two foremen. Mufulera, same ropes. The only difference is the rock hoist has two motors. That means 2 times 5.5 megawatt drive units, 5.6 megawatt drive units, totaling to about 11 megawatts. Although we do not consume 11 megawatts when we hoist, the current technology, which is it's quite advanced drive technology, we use IGBTs in the front end and the motor end. So basically, as we're going down, we go past the point of balance. We are pumping that energy back into the grid. And if you see that big machine, it uses about the same electricity than our current older winders, hoisting 15 tons instead of 30 tons, or we can peak at 30, but currently 27.5.
To operate this state-of-the-art machinery requires skilled manpower, which Mopani Copper Mines PLC has invested in at their training center in Mofulera. Both Mopani employees and interested members of the public are trained in engineering and mining at the Teveta-approved Mopani Central Training Center. Here, students get a practical experience of what it is like to work on a mine in this mining mock-up. It also has a simulation center where students are examined to operate the heavy-duty equipment used at a mine site.
This institution is a state-of-the-art. We've got equipment here that no other institution in Zambia has. We've got experienced personnel, people that have worked many, many years in the mine that can guide people through the training. So our mining mock-up is actually a mimic of what actually happens in the real plant outside there. So here we bring in people to be trained to make them feel the mining experience before they actually go underground, the real underground there. So what is in our mining mock-up is exactly what is obtaining underground.
The opportunities presented by the developments at Mopani Copper Mines PLC go beyond human development capacity and skills development, as Mopani's CEO advises Zambians to capitalize on this development by setting up businesses within the mine's value chain.
Zambia have a chance to diversify. So we are looking for Zambians to partner up with fertilizer manufacturing companies who will provide them the acid. We're looking for companies to add value to the copper, like Zamefa. They make cables that are exported internationally. If you go to South Africa, you find a lot of cables made in Zambia by Zamefa. So we are adding value to the copper we produce. New Kantin in Ndola is also making cables that are not only sold in Zambia, they also export. It's a source of extra foreign exchange earning mechanism. So we encourage Zambians to take advantage to add value. So instead of exporting the cathode, we can come up with other ventures so that we have alloys. We make alloys that will attract more money. But the chance is there for Zambians. We can sell them the product if they come up with ventures that will make money for the country.
For both Kitwe and Mofulera Chambers of Commerce and Industry, government's acquisition of 100% shares in Mopani Copper Mines PLC is the best news to resuscitate Zambia's once buoyant economy.
We expect Mopani to positively impact the economy besides other socio-economic areas. As you know, mining has a huge multiplier effect. The immediate expectation is the sustenance of direct employment as well as indirect employment through the contractors. Okay. We also expect that the regulation regulatory environment will be stable and consistent with current global trends. Also that Mopani will continue being seen as a global company.
I think it will guarantee business opportunities. That's one thing, business opportunities for our members, both those that are in Kitwe and Mufulira. They will be guaranteed business, and therefore they will be able to contribute. Through their businesses, they're able to pay taxes to the government, and also the disposable income that is available goes down to even markets and those people that run shops. Our members will be guaranteed of contracts, because I think obviously the policy of government through ZCMIH focuses on empowering Zambians.
The best people to react to the new management deal are the workers themselves. They expect, among other things, improved conditions of service.
We have plenty of reserves, so let's just take care of our resources. Let's just be accountable, and I'm sure we'll win.
By at least giving us good salaries which can be able to sustain our families.
So natemwa ba government bakatwalira okutusunga efine fyade tusunga ba Mopani n'okukilapo ocho ninga temo buteko batwafu bakatusunge bwino n'okutwamishako fye fintu fumo efile fye kokutwamishako.
And the residents from the mining towns of Mufulira and Kitwe are hopeful that government owning the mine will rebuild the economy and create job opportunities for them.
Because we've been complaining that the benefits of all the profits of the mines are going outside and they are developing other countries. And so I feel that it's a good move.
A lot of people I think to benefit. More like how much
kuti ifintu kyanguka kukula amaskulu imisebo kukuilikisha munyomo ashala tiyabunda.
We have more employment and then we have money. Maybe the economy will pick up.
All along, this like Mopani, they've been externalizing the resources. When they make the profit, the money, they don't stay in the country. They externalize the resources. So we believe with prudence, learning the Mopani with prudence, then we have reserves in our banks.
They say it is darkest before dawn, and government's acquisition of a 100% shareholding in Mopani Copper Mines PLC is that new dawn for Zambians to team up, support and revive this economic giant. To achieve this, Zambians need a change of mindset to start believing in themselves that they have the skill and personnel to run the mine successfully. What seems impossible to be achieved now should motivate most Zambians to work towards rebuilding this national asset to its full potential for the betterment of every Zambian.